Hello everyone, I'm Nerdy Fool, and welcome back to I Was a Teenage Exocolonist. Before I jumped into the game, I saw that we have now added Tang onto our starting screen, so I want to make sure that you could all see that. I think when you get someone up to 100 friendship in any of your saves, it adds them to this front screen. So it's kind of a goal to try and, over multiple playthroughs... Oh, are you getting dual music? Hopefully that helps. Yeah, it's kind of a goal to get 100 friendship with everyone so you can get all of them showing up here on the title screen. But as it is, let's hop into our game. So we are now at age 18, year 9. Let's go see what is new with this year. I've not seen my brother in some time, Tang muses. I'm certain he lives, otherwise expeditions would have raised an alarm. But myself, personally? She shrugs and goes back to examining her experiments. I've no time to track him down and beg. Through penitent tears, to be loved as a sister should be. If he wants to make amends, he knows where to find me. I'm not the one who is impossible to track down. So yeah, people still believe Dis is alive out there, somewhere. Which explains why we didn't get the in morning. Hi, Undy M. Yes, 100 friendship with everyone is possible. It's hard to pull off in a single run, but certainly over the course of several runs you can definitely achieve it. Nem seems engrossed in her holopalm as you approach. Hold on, Selene, she says. I gotta finish this message to Vase. He gets so moody if I don't hollow him back right away. Yeah, Vase is not the best person. On the subject of getting 100 friendship with everyone, people like Vase that show up, Vase, Nomi, and Rex that show up late are difficult, and particularly Vase because he's just difficult to get along with. But I think even him, we're already up to 27. If I had put a heavy focus on trying to get his friendship up, we probably could have pulled it off, particularly if I went the combat route, so I was continuously going on missions and doing the training. We could have got there. I don't think we're gonna pull it off in this run. You spot Vase talking to a small group of other soldiers and walk over to see what's going on. Vase gives you a cool look as you approach. If you're looking for Rex, you're not going to find him here, he says, and the other soldiers snicker like they're sharing some sort of private joke. You should try out back, or maybe the personal quarters. Ooh, we've got a log up here. Don't mind if I do. Well, hey, Rex exclaims, jumping up when he sees you. How's it hanging, Selene? Your eyes fall to a spectacular line of hickeys that travels down his neck and disappears under his harness. He sees you looking and laughs, unashamed. He pulls down the fabric of his harness to show off that they go much farther than that. Me? I'm good, he laughs. Real good, if you catch my drift. We'll give you a log. Rex beams with happiness as you hand over the mushwood. What? Really? Really? He exclaims. I need this for building the bar. Thank you so much. Rex shoots you a shy smile. Nothing a dog likes more than a stick, right? And let's get the hug. Rex is surveying an empty lot with a critical eye. There's still a lot of potential here, he says, thoughtfully tapping something into his holopalm. Maybe an elder care home? One day, hopefully, we'll be lucky enough to have old folks, and it makes sense to have it right in the middle of the colony. He gestures a holopalm away and turns to you with a smile. Gotta think about the future if we're still expecting we got one. Rex throws his arms wide. Coach, I'm open, he laughs, catching you as you throw yourself into his arms. He spins you around and growls into your neck and squeezes you tightly. It's a good hug, the kind that makes you instantly just a little more relaxed. Everyone but Vase is quite a bit easier than everyone, especially if you want to get the whole story of each, though other events can block off the story. Yeah. I just have a hard time with Vase because I'm not naturally the kind of person who wants to play the combative, slay the aliens because they're attacking us. It's like, we're the invading species, and I don't want to wipe them out when I feel like somewhat we're in the wrong. Nomi's typing away at their holopalm, their tongue sticking out between their teeth. Sorry, I just gotta add Get one more line of code down, they mutter. After a few seconds, they close their holopalm and give you a tired smile. Who knew I'd have to learn to code to write a holo novel, right? No matter how done I think it is, there's always something else I can tweak. Hard mode is get all of Ace's storyline without becoming a violent macho jerk. Yeah. I mean, so I think the perk for getting creativity, I think to 100 or somewhere, I think it's on creativity, is that it allows you to give gifts every month. So you don't have to do once per season. And so if I focused on getting a lot of kudos, bought a lot of cake at the depot, and was giving that to base constantly, I'm pretty sure I could get him up there. But I didn't focus on creativity, so didn't happen. But it could happen in a future run if I wanted to get base without being a macho jerk. That is an option. Oh, nearly forgot about you up here, Mars. Mars is fanning herself with a well-manicured hand. She says, can't we just turn down the heat on this whole stupid planet? It's either hot and dry or cool and muggy, and I'm tired of it. I mean, I would guess right now it's not too hot, since there's snow on the ground. Your mom blinks at you like she hasn't seen you in a while. Wow, you're getting big, she mutters, shaking her head in disbelief. Don't much care for this war, your dad says, his voice dripping with disdain. I thought we left Earth so that we could get away from that kind of thinking. Then a bunch of soldiers show up and all of a sudden we're back where we started? He shakes his head. Don't like that. Not even one little bit. Cal waves at you from the garden, then rises to his feet. It's almost comforting to see that despite everything, he's still the same old Cal who likes to play in the mud. Hey, Selene, he calls out to you. What's going on? Let's see, do I have a lot of collectibles? I've got a ton of crystal clusters and flowers, so I can easily give those out to the people that like them. Which, unfortunately, I think is just Mars and Nomi. You can have a flower because you like the flowers. I guess we can give Vase a device because we had like 4 of them. Yeah. Keep working on getting his friendship up. Utopia's so cool, Nomi says, twirling their pencil between their fingers. She's just out there in the wilderness doing cool explorery stuff. It almost makes me wish I was any good at exploring, but I just get super scared and freeze up, and I make silly mistakes. Everyone says so. Nomination, stop making silly mistakes. Alright. You can have a crystal. Wow, it makes rainbows. It's perfect. Thank you so much. Yeah. So we have a good amount of stress available. So I could do some exploring. Wow, Cal got hot. Yeah, he grew up. I mean, they all grew up. But he got tan, buff. Yeah. Cal's doing some hardcore inverted yoga pose, balanced on his hands with his legs folded up and his knees tucked on top of his elbows. His breathing is long and steady. Check it out, he says, slowly extending one leg out so it sticks straight up into the air behind him. This one's called crow pose, but I think it's kind of more like float cow. Get it? Because it's kind of like I'm floating? Float crow? Based on Pseudonym's recommendations last session, I think Cal is the one we are heading towards romancing. So, those that are fans of Cal, and he's, personality-wise, is great as well. We're going to continue to avoid hunting in the swamps because I think that pretty much every scenario in there is just about how Vase kills stuff. And so I'm just going to avoid that. Even though it's good for getting friendship with Vase. All events, I think, have respawned because we're at the start of a new year. So let's see. For gear that we're going to need for gifts, or collectibles rather, we've got an egg for Nem. We've got plenty of crystals for Nomi. Bobber fruit for Cal. Flowers and crystals for Mars. Devices for Vase. I should probably get some of these that we're low on, so I can give out gifts outside of birthdays. So... yeah. I think probably I want to get... whoa, clicking all the wrong buttons. Forge in the Valley, I think, because that's where we get the eggs. And I think that's what I want more of, because Anemone is one of the ones we're lowest with. Yeah. That's the plan. Speaking of eggs... and bobber fruit, we need more of that. And then, as usual, we'll look for any interesting scenarios to check out. The paths are narrow and in constant need of repair. There's a team working here trying to repair where one of the jelly arches has collapsed and cover the path in 30 centimeters of sticky goop. Utopia waves you over. Hey, Selene, can you give us a hand? We can't get vehicles through here until this is cleared, and it's going to take all day. You might have a better plan. Use biology. I have a better plan, using biology. Rather than just shoveling it. It's an easy challenge. Only get to 63 in 3 rounds. Piece of cake. Engineered Plague. That's such a terrible thing. Good card, though. So that'll turn down to a 6. Yeah. Start there. Neighbors become wild. Nice. Can't really get an 8, which is what I was thinking. Ooh, -5 stress. Always good. I want to toss that in somewhere. Particularly since it's an easy goal. There we go. Then we'll just toss in some big cards, I don't know. This card still is going to screw us up, because if I threw it in, it would give a -2, because wilds are... count as yellows, for the sake of that. There we go. Something like that. I don't particularly care. We super won. Everyone's parents were already hot, so it only makes sense that Soul's peers also got hot. Oh yeah, you've seen this stuff desiccate in low humidity like dust. You throw powdered desiccant over it and let physics do its work. It's easier to plow through a bunch of plumped up granules of desiccated gel than it is to shovel all the slimy muck. You save a few hours. Alright. Probably gonna skip all those bricky missions. You're trekking through the wilderness when something catches your eye. To anyone else, it'd simply be a weird depression between two roots. But it pings something in your memory. Isn't this what the entrance to the Overseer's Cave looked like? You decide to check it out. Your hunch is correct. The depression opens up into a passageway just big enough to wiggle your body through, then widens even more to reveal a familiar door. You quietly push it open. The room you enter is not unlike the one where you interface with the array. There's a vat in the corner, emitting a soft organic glow, and another computer panel slowly being reclaimed by the rock wall. It's not hard to assume the planet is lousy with rooms just like this one, where Sim and the other gardeners can rest and respawn if needed. This one, however, is not empty. You enter to find Sim, who, aptly so, as naked as the day he was born. He is stepping out of the regeneration vat, clad only in strands of bioluminescence and goo. that slides down his long limbs and patter to the ground. Sim's back is to you, treating you to a glimpse of skin usually hidden under layers of tattered dark fabric. The knobs of his spine and shoulder blades visible under his inhuman musculature. He looks unusually delicate and vulnerable. He reaches up and gently brings out his thick hair, humming a song you recognize from the Hollow archives. As if sensing the weight of your gaze on his body, he pauses and slowly turns his head. Selene, he says softly, I didn't see you come in. You're naked? Sorry to bother you. I can see you very well, though. Sorry to bother you. It's no bother, Sim replies, looking down at himself, if it does not bother you. Now that you know the truth about the gardeners, Sim continues, we can be far more free with our words. He gestures to the regeneration vat. I have very few secrets from you now. You can come take a closer look if you'd like. After a beat, he clarifies, a closer look at the vat, I mean. You walk over and check out the vat. The air gets noticeably warmer the closer you get, the sun like sunlight on your face, and there's a faint organic smell that's not unpleasant. The vat itself looks like something you'd find in engineering, but seems to be constructed entirely out of natural materials, spongy-looking fungal growths, mineral deposits, and pulsating vine-like umbilicals. You can touch it, Sim says, it's not dangerous. You sit on the lip of the vat and run your fingers across the surface of the glowing liquid. A slight electric charge prickles up your forearms, and you feel the frisson of a link to the array. Sim sits down beside you, now fully dressed. His fingers alight on the surface of the liquid as well, and you feel a slight presence at the edge of your mind, like a thought you can't reach. I'm glad we can talk freely now, he says. Is there anything you wish to know about me or the gardeners? Let's see. Wonder if it's going to allow me to ask all of these. Dying and being reborn, what's that like? Tell me more about the gardeners. How many gardeners are there? How old are you? Do you like being a gardener? What should we humans do? Or no, I'm good. I guess start at the top. Although we personally have some familiarity with this, though we aren't aware of it in our first... It's not really our first life, I don't think, since we have memories of other lifetimes. It's timey-wimey stuff, it's hard to describe. Reborn isn't the right word, Sim answers. It's more like reopening a program after a system crash. Everything is still there, perfectly preserved, except for whatever I added since the last time I saved my work. Functionally, it feels more like teleportation. As for dying, Sim continues, frowning a little as he considers the thought, well, I'm certain that dying can be extremely painful. Depends on the death, I assume. He touches his chest. I have no memory of the moment of death, though I have died many, many times, he says. In that, we are the same. Tell me more about the gardeners. Sim sighs. Compared to the gardeners, humanity is short-sighted. You're often unable to conceptualize present or future beyond your own lives or those of your direct descendants. Gardeners think on a much larger scale. I once spent 400 years as a mush tree just to avoid talking to a gardener whose methods I disagreed with. Wow, 400 years as a mush tree. That's a lot. He smiles. Juvenile, I know, but when your memory spans tens of thousands of years, 400 years is trivial. And it has given me a true appreciation for all life, one that goes deeper than I can describe. When I tell you that the gardeners are Vertumna, I mean it quite literally. How many gardeners are there? Sim thinks for a few seconds. It's hard to say, he answers. There are theoretically an infinite number of instances of the software that comprises a gardener. It's not uncommon for a particular instance, such as myself, to go dormant, possibly for thousands of years. He stretches out his fingers and looks at them, then at you. And many gardeners, such as the Overseer, find they do not need to take physical form at all. There are only a handful like myself who do. How old are you? That question has many answers, Sim replies with a slight smile. This consciousness has ultimately been in existence for over 20,000 years, since the creation of the gardeners. But that means very little. I certainly don't have a 20,000 years experience as a bipedal, anthropomorphic, organic capable of speech. And this body, he says, gesturing to himself, why, it is only minutes old. Do you like being a gardener? Does the wind like being wind? Sim answers. I'm sorry to be cryptic, but I told you I would not. After I told you I would not, but there really is no other way to answer that question. I am what I was created to be, he continues. There is beauty in that, and a clarity of purpose that makes me feel fulfilled. I do not experience existential angst like a human does. What should we humans do? If I knew the answer, I would tell you, Sim replies, placing his hand on top of yours. Pragmatically, I do agree with the other gardeners, he continues. If our purpose is to protect the biosphere of Vertumna, and humanity poses a threat to that, then by the letter of our own design, humanity must be eradicated. However, he sighs and looks away. I love humanity. I think you are all an incredible species, and it would be a shame to destroy you. I feel like doing so would be a violation of the spirit of the Convergent Domain's last decree. And perhaps, he murmurs, redeeming you will be the greatest act of love we could perform in the name of our imperfect creators. Thanks. Sim nods. Please know that you can come to me at any time, and I will do my best to answer, he says. However, I must apologize for something, Sim says abruptly. I simply must... May I touch you? At your questioning look, Sim blushes and turns his head away. This body is new, he murmurs, and all of its senses are heightened. I confess I find myself unable to stop myself from wondering what it would be like to touch another while I am vulnerable to sensations like this. I'm not going to flirt with Sim. We'll just say okay. Sim looks delighted as he reaches out to pet your hair, running his fingers through the fine strands. Marvelous, he says. Truly a texture I have not been able to replicate in my own bodies. He runs his thumb over your eyebrows, then your cheekbone. His fingers dance down the bridge of your nose, then lightly into the dip of your... builds from across your lips to pause on your chin. Sim's gaze drops to your mouth, as his own lips part with an unspoken question. Pull away. I understand, Sim says, immediately, raising his hands away from you. Humans are bound by an intricate network of conventions around such things. This much I've gleaned from your holographic videos. I'm sorry if I've made you uncomfortable. He stands and takes a deep breath. I would like to go outside, he announces. Have you ever swam in the lake nearby? It's incredible, especially when my senses are heightened. I love the feel of the sun and water on my skin. He smiles down at you. You're welcome to join me, if you like. So, yeah, gardeners are very interesting, but I understand, as a programmer myself, the idea that they see themselves as programs designed to perform a specific task of watching over the biosphere of this planet have the question of where do they draw that line? Because they could just directly follow the programming they were designed to follow, which says wipe out humanity, which seems to be the goal of most of them. But there are a few like Sim, or maybe just Sim alone, who thinks that maybe their programming could be interpreted a bit more loosely. It's an interesting question because we don't really think about intelligent programs often. Alright, are there any of these missions I want to do? Obviously I'll do the boss event. I don't think I'm really interested in... That I know is stealing the egg from the Manticore, which I don't feel like doing. I didn't really like any of the Ricky options we've seen so far, so I'm going to skip those. And I don't think that the weird plant-like one was any good either. We've seen all of those. So I think I'm just going to do the boss event. You spot a juvenile squeeger queen all on her lonesome. She's still mobile, but she's moving very slowly, digging around in the dirt here and there, licking the ground, possibly looking for a place to take root and live out the rest of her life. This might be an opportunity to capture a live hive. Maybe you could convince it to take root in one of the barns in the colony, giving the colony a source of honey without so much dangerous foraging. It spits acid if you get too close, and they have a nasty, powerful beak. No wonder no one's managed to catch one. If we do the toughness challenge, I think it'll give us toughness points. We don't need animals. Oh, actually we do. We haven't maxed animals. Maybe we will do animals. Alright. We have a card locked in that doubles the card to the right. Neat. Maybe I'll just toss in a really big card. There. Just big values. Okay, so that gave +6, which turned it into a 10. Which then got doubled. It's nice that it doubled after it gained the +6, because those could technically go in either order. And after that, I don't know. Guess just a bunch of 2s. Oh, nice. Double that 13, that'll be good. Then +5 to flushes with that card, sure. Do something like that, maybe. Nice. Got the max score, so we got extra animals. And kudos. Mostly blind, the Squeecher Queen is oblivious to your ulterior motive. You spend an entire day subtly leading her in the right direction. She's like an incredibly slow turtle who keeps stopping to lick the ground for some reason. It's super boring. Your dad meets you at the gates to receive the Queen. Your Majesty, he jokes, bowing deeply. I'll make sure she gets settled in, he says to you. Come by and visit her anytime you want. Alright, and we'll just go home from there. Good month. You roll out of bed at noon because you're allowed to, because it's your birthday, but also because you're exhausted. You barely slept at all last night. You've been having these nightmares since the siege, more and more every night, like they're trying to tell you something urgent. You can't make any sense of it. All the imagery is jumbled together, all these possibilities and timelines and things that might happen. Some nights you wake up in a cold sweat, a scream already in your throat. You sit on the edge of your bed, run a hand through your hair, and check your holopalm. A few people wished you happy birthday, but that's all. You guess you're getting older. Birthdays aren't as important as they used to be. Right, and Mars wants to meet you for lunch in the lounge today. You have to practice your smile. Go meet Mars for lunch. As you enter the lounge, surprise! You do your best to play along and act surprised. Woo, streamers, balloons, great. Surprise party. Yeah, as someone who can see the future, surprise parties probably aren't that surprising. All your friends are standing around wearing goofy hats and clapping. Nomi's holding a bunch of balloons larger than they are, and Rex is wearing a cute little waiter's outfit with a bow tie. You accept their hugs and birthday wishes, trying to hide your exhaustion and demurring with a few pointed, "All this for me? You shouldn't have. No, really." Rex wanders around with a tray full of little snacks, offering them to everyone with a vampy accent and a silly, airheaded giggle. The goofball act chips away at the natural awkwardness of a surprise party. That is, the first 5 minutes after everyone shouts surprise, and soon everyone is laughing and enjoying themselves. Despite your exhaustion, you smile. You start to smile too. Your friends are so amazing, and they're all here because they care about you. Then you get some unexpected guests. The lounge begins to fill with Helio kids. Mostly ones you don't know, the ones who usually keep to themselves and, well, don't much like you original Stratospirit kids. Vase and Nem are with them, his arm draped over her shoulders. Nem gives you a little wave of acknowledgement for your birthday, which earns a weird look from Vase. "Hey, who invited you guys?" Cal says, stepping forward, his hands clenched. "This is a private party." "It's a public lounge," Vase replies. "We can sit wherever we want." Cal stomps right into the midst of the Helios. "You guys think that just because you fell out of the sky, you're the wormhole's gift to Vertumna?" He spits out. "We don't need you. We never needed you. All you do is make things worse, like this party." You've rarely seen Cal go so ready for a fight. He doesn't seem to care that the body language of the Helio kids has changed from cocky to dangerous. "You're just a bunch of fascists," Cal continues. "You and Lum." The The lounge erupts, chairs screeching across the floor as the Helios jump to their feet, yelling at Cal, calling the colony illegal and Cal a fugitive. They jostle him around, but Cal plants his feet and stands his ground. You hear a bottle breaking and see someone advancing on Cal. He's not backing down. Nem make them stop is an option because our friendship is 50 or greater. Vase make them stop we can't do because our friendship with Vase is not that good. Or we can just try and stop it or encourage the fighting. Yeah, Cal throwing hands, it's interesting because Cal is naturally not a combative fighting type. Like, we saw him all through our childhood where he's like, I don't want to play competitive games, or if I do, can I be the goalie because I don't want to participate in competition. He wants to play games where everyone can be a winner and just find peaceful solutions. So to see him reach the breaking point where he's just like, nah, a fight's gonna happen now. Like, I don't even care, is very interesting for him because you can see how far he's been pushed. But I'm going to go with the Nem make them stop option because I'm assuming that'll have better responses than if I try to stop it or if I encourage the fight. Hey, come on guys, cut it out, Nem says tiredly. It's Selene's birthday, don't make it a big thing. They seem to respect her, so they back down. But not before a few parting, libelous shots at Cal's parentage and alleged actions with animals. They probably deserve it then? Yeah, so because we are playing on the side that's pretty similar to Cal and Dis of don't, like, the aliens are our friends, let's try and get along and find a spot in the ecosystem where we can fit, rather than just destroy the ecosystem and claim this spot our own. It's like that opposite side of the coin. And we've seen multiple times where soldiers have come bothering Cal demanding that he needs to join up with the army because he's a big, strong dude. And they're just like, hey, you could definitely help fight, and he's getting tired of it. So yeah, there's a reason he's been pushed to this point. She turns to Cal and pokes her finger in his chest. You provoked them on purpose, she says angrily. I'm not your friend anymore. Don't ask me to stick up for you if you're being a butt. Well, Mars exclaims, clapping her hands, that was enough excitement, I think. Let's move on to the important part, cake and presents. Under Mars's skillful party hosting hand, the mood shifts back to festive. You enjoy your presents and your cake, but tensions boiling over like that is a bad omen for the rest of the year. Yes, it is. Mid-quiet. I still keep expecting Dis to be out here, and he's just not. Your mom is hard at work. Are you even surprised anymore? She cares about these fields more than she cares about anything else. Hello, Stardust. Cal is sitting cross-legged on top of the gardening shed, his face turned towards the sun. He cracks open one eye when he realizes you're watching him. I like to spend a little bit of time every day communing with the planet, he says, smiling down at you. I think it's kind of important to think about why we're here and what we're doing, you know? Well, I got a bunch of bobber fruit, so you want one? Food! Cal grabs the fruit out of your hands, then remembers his manners. He gives you a big hug. Thanks, Selene, I'm starving. How did you know? Alright, Mars. Mars is flipping through the most recent council minutes on her holopalm, one perfect eyebrow arched in disbelief. Lum is a disaster, she scoffs. You wouldn't believe some of the reforms he's blocked. And I can't give you a gift because I already gave you one last month. Yep, it's the same phrase that he always uses. Nim is watching some of the other soldiers practicing their hand-to-hand combat. Man, she says, I hope we never actually have to do that. Seems like a bad idea. I've got an egg for you. You're a hero, Nem says, taking the egg. I'm starving. I'm gonna get the kitchen to cook this up right away. Tangent doesn't notice you approach, absorbed in staring at her hand. She flexes it a few times and touches her thumb to each fingertip. When she notices you, she looks surprised for a moment before her expression smooths over again. The body is a remarkable machine, she says. So weak as a child, and then so strong in its pride. then ravaged by its own imperfect biology until it literally crumbles around us. And yet, somehow, we made it to the stars, and then here. She closed her fist. Imagine what we could do if not burdened by our physical forms. Alright, Rex and Nomi. Well, hey, Rex exclaims, jumping up when he sees you. How's it hanging, Selene? Oh, that's the same one from last time, of the Trail of Hickeys. And the one more line of code, yep. So that is everyone. Maybe do one more explore session, just to get it out of the way of somewhere else, and then we will do something else besides exploring with the next month. So we've done the Forge of the Valley. Let's survey the ridge. Because I like that one. There's a lot of interesting items, and the boss events usually are interesting things relating to the aliens. Convergent Domain, Gardeners, etc. I'll do the Thumper one, but I think it's probably the same. Yeah, it's the same challenge we've seen a bunch of times. I'm just going to ignore it and move on. Oh, it still used stress. Come on. I thought if I ignored it and moved on, it wouldn't count as taking the time on an event. It's disappointing. Alright. Let's keep looking around. I really do like having the perk for perception being maxed, so that I can just wander through an entire area in a single explore session, as opposed to early on when we had to constantly come back and finish up an area. Alright. Hey, Sim. Anything to say? Sim is lying in the grass looking as if he's asleep, but for the way his head turns to you as you approach. I dreamed that you'd come today, Selene, he says, not opening his eyes. Let's see, what items have we given? Likes everything, so we can no longer see specific things that he likes. I was gonna try and fill out his whole list, but there's no point. Can you help me calm down? Of course, Sim murmurs, stepping into your space, his cool hands alight on your cheeks, tilting your head to look in his eyes. Within moments, you feel the burdens of your day lift off your shoulders, like a balloon floating away into the sky. Your consciousness reasserts itself sometime later, and you find yourself held in Sim's long arms. You blink away the brain fog and pull yourself together, thanking him for the experience. Sim smiles. It was my pleasure, Selene. Stay safe out there. Ooh, we've got a Utopia vent up there. Just gather a couple of things lying around. What's up, Utopia? Utopia sent a team of geologists to get a closer look at this region's weird terrain. You come across them working, and Utopia beckons you over. Selene, she says, drawing everyone's attention to you. Selene, come here, everyone. Selene's been working in this area for a while, and I'm sure he's got plenty of information on what's out here. The geologists politely turn towards you and listen. Here's what we've got so far, Utopia says, speaking directly to you. Judging from how the layers of sediment are broken up, this place used to be pretty flat, for there must have been a ton of earthquake activity, ripping up the land and bringing these huge ridges. We can date the quakes around the time look of these ruins were created, she adds, and we're looking, but we haven't seen anything built after them, like that was it for the old Convergent Domain. These broken up layers are the same across the planet. Something sure happened about 20,000 years ago. I'm gonna not mention the array. But yeah, the obsidian layer. You explain that below the sands there's a thick layer of dark silica, crystal, obsidian stuff the Convergent Domain used. Utopia nods. Right, you can see it in striations, yeah. It's one of the major landmarks in the geological timeline. Obsidian and earthquakes are both associated with volcanoes, but there are no volcanoes here, not even a fault line. Utopia says, wiping her forehead. It's just not natural. We'll talk about the crystals. The crystals soak up energy from the sun and transfer underground. What if that energy was unleashed suddenly? Utopia watches bemused as the geologists crunch the numbers. It would have It would have been an enormous amount of energy, but if this entire region was one big solar battery, that kind of energy, the energy of 2 suns, could definitely cause earthquakes of the magnitude that could rip apart the land. And yeah, I'm not going to mention the Gardener's Array. We are continuing to not talk about the aliens, because I don't think it would turn out well. You set up a drone hive to measure the sediment layers along the cliffside and learn a few things about rock. Alright, what else is there to explore here? Gonna see if this is still the happy rock. It is. You come across the peaceful rock again and feel your troubles melt away. Let's stay for a while. You lie down on the rock, letting the strange magic fill you with an incredible sense of peace, love, and unity with the universe. Nice. Yeah, I don't think anywhere else there is a guaranteed spot that will always be just a peaceful location. So it's kind of interesting that this exploration area has one. And I didn't think it was guaranteed to always be in the same spot, but it seems to be. At least lately, I've always found it there. I assumed the events would shuffle around a bit. Wow, no boss event. Weird. Alright. Well, we'll just head out. Rex has called a meeting all interested partiers, his words, to join him for unveiling of his bar. He's amassed a huge crowd. By this point, everyone's heard about his mission. Nomi's here, of course, bopping around like they're about to explode with pride. Ladies, gents, and those who defy classification, Rex begins, winking at Nomi. The time has come for this colony to have what it really needs, a place to partay. With that, Rex flips on the house lights. The crowd gasps and blinks around in awe. There's so much to see. It was an ambitious build. There's a stage and a dance floor for live music, there's a bunch of low tables and some cute little booths with red cushions, and, of course, there's a bar fully stocked with various liquors Rex must have been able to coax out of someone's hobby still. Rex drinks in everyone's reactions, beaming with pride. Well, don't just stand there, he says. Let's get at her. Get up on stage and sing, pour your friends a drink, or quietly admire Rex's handiwork. We're not really the singing type, I don't think. Creativity hasn't been a focus. We could tend the bar, or probably more likely we would just admire Rex's handiwork. During the day, this place will be a quiet cafe where people can gather with friends and sit and study. At night, Mars is going to lead karaoke nights, and Nomi will make sure the dance floor is always jumping. And I'll just be happy that everyone else has a good time here, Rex tells you. It's great to finally have a place purpose-built for having fun. Thank you, Selene, for all your help. Nice. So we managed to help finish his bar. Alright, back to doing the rounds. Don't you have something you should be doing right now, Selene? No. That Cal's a helpful kid, and he's got a natural talent with plants, your dad says, taking a break to wipe his forehead with his handkerchief. Wonder if he gets it from me. At your aghast expression, your dad laughs. Just kidding. His mom didn't use a donor, I'm pretty sure. If she did, no one told me. Cal's doing some hardcore inverted yoga pose. Yep, we've read that one. Mars is tapping away at a large holoscreen displaying schematics of the colony. An art gallery here, she says, she muses, dragging some template buildings around, next to a gourmet restaurant here. A walk down the promenade past the boutiques, ending at the live theater. She places her finger to her chin. What do you think, Selene? It's all fantasy right now, but you know me. I'm highly goal-oriented. Yep. Go bother Rex. Yep, we've read that one. Nem yawns as you approach. Sorry, Selene, she says, covering her mouth. Late night, early morning, you know how it is. Yep, there she is, flexing her fingers. Marveling about the human body, which is true. The human body is crazy in its complexity. You find Rex sitting in the bowl of one of the unfinished buildings, taking a hit off of a rolled cigarette that smells powerfully skunky. He jumps a little when he sees you before relaxing. Oh, it's only you, Selene, he says, waving at the cloud of fumes and giving you a squinty-eyed smile. Don't mind me, I'm just testing some of the latest crops for quality assurance. Sure you are. Yep, we read that one as well, about how cool Utopia is. Alright. I don't need to do the robot one anymore because we got the event we were looking for. So now I'm free to do whatever. Probably want to focus on the skills we've already been focusing, so anything that can boost organizing, toughness, combat, I guess a little bit of animals, and bravery. And reasoning. We didn't actually max reasoning. I keep thinking we have. It's one of the problems of having these items that make it look like things are maxed. I mean, it doesn't really. You can clearly see this purple there. But my brain just sees it as being a filled bar. So, let's see. Tutoring children was reasoning and empathy. Repair robots, I think, was a lot that we didn't need. Engineering and then a little bit of creativity. That's why our creativity is getting so high. So I'm like, we haven't been focusing it, but we just did a lot of repair robots. Study humanities is creativity and persuasion. Engineering would be engineering and reason. Biology and reason. Reasoning and empathy is not a bad call. I might do that. It's been a while since I've really gone around and looked at what our options are. Practice the photophoner. Is creativity and bravery? Probably not. Delivering supplies was organizing and perception. We could benefit from organizing a bit just to try and max out our blue skills for whatever reason. Organizing and persuasion, that is a much better option. Could do that. What about over here? Shoveling dirt, which is just toughness, which we could do. The farm is biology and toughness. We don't need biology. Xenobotany is biology organizing. Tending the animals is animals and empathy. That would be a good choice. I think I'm going to go with the reasoning option. We'll likely get a bit more animals over the course of the game just from the random exploring that we do periodically. Because that seems to give us a decent amount of animals, and I think we're probably pretty close. I could take off the item to see exactly where we're at. So we're at 91. So, yeah. We're getting close. But yeah, let's do tutoring children. Try and boost our reasoning up. Nim is still struggling with her academics. Security Chief Rhett expects his officers to have passed their classes, so that means Nim has to take remedial statistics and remedial biology. You try your best, and by the end of the month, she knows enough to at least pass her tests. Alright, we've got a wild locked in place. So if we pretend this is a 6, then we can toss in a 5. 4, 3? Oh no! And that one boosts other yellow cards. Of course it does. So we could do that instead. Then we don't get the color bonus. Okay, sure. +6 reasoning, good. That nearly got us there. +1 empathy and a bunch of kudos. On to early pollen.